Well, hello.
Well, hello. Se oli hyvä. Welcome to the TestguruTV. Sitting right next to me is a epic champion of testing, Jani, Tuna, Haikala.
Hello. And here next to me is Antti Niittyviita, a tireless testing advocate, a trainer, public speaker and author.
TestguruTV is a weekly show about critical questions in software testing and quality.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
It looks like practice makes, I don't know, perfect, but better at least.
Joo, no niin. It works.
Today's question, do you want to hear it?
Yeah. Hit me.
Here it goes. How do I get more time for exploratory testing?
How do I get more time for exploratory testing?
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites. How do you feel about the question?
That's true, yeah. It's a good question.
Joo, tämä lähti hyvin. Me täytyy ehkä vetää vielä uudestaan sitä, mutta joo.
Today's question, do you want to hear it?
Yes, of course.
Here it comes.
I'm terribly excited about it.
I can see. How do I get more time for exploratory testing?
Oh, exploratory testing and time. Both are my favorite questions.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah. How do you feel about the question?
The first initial reaction actually is that I have a question about the question, or maybe even many questions. But
I think that's like internal reflex of a great software tester to have questions about the question.
Yeah, and I think that will happen to us quite often in the future episodes as well.
Yeah, so if you send us questions, remember to bring some context in the question.
So, and that's the thing, we don't really know. The first question that comes to my mind is what is actually preventing the person who is asking this question? What is preventing from doing exploratory testing already? So what's happening? What's going on?
Yeah, and it leads me to think like what's preventing. I think one of the things that's preventing, there's too little time to do things.
Could be, yeah.
That's one initial reaction that I have about too little time to do it, or too little resources, just not enough people working there. So it leads me to think about this question in the context of time management. The other thing that comes to my mind is in the context of clarifying your priorities. So what are the priorities at the moment in your project?
Yeah.
So if exploratory testing, you want to get more time to do that, then you need to ask, so what's coming before it? Yeah. What's a priority before exploratory testing, and why is it?
And maybe there's also a question of what do you want to achieve?
Yeah.
Probably, with my experience, I would say that anyone who's asking this question is doing some sort of testing.
Yeah,
and it's not exploratory testing, probably. So could be running test cases, doing automation, things like that. And then you really need to decide what kind of results do you want.
Yeah, that's a great point of view, because in testing you can just I do a lot of workshops and trainings, and when I ask about different kinds of possible outcomes of testing, what may be outcomes of your testing, most people said that it's quality. So, and they just ignore the question. But then you have to go deeper. What about quality is it that's important to you? Yeah. So for some, it may be producing boatloads of evidence that this is the way we tested it in this kind of a setting, so that we can meet a standard or a contract.
True.
For other people, it may be finding bugs and finding more problems that might threaten the value of the product.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what are the outcomes of testing that you're aiming for is the primary thing to clarify, and that brings you to the priorities too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's we often talk about I think testing community, especially those who are familiar with rapid software testing, talk a lot about checking versus testing. And actually, we have been talking about bringing evidence, and then on the other hand, bug hunting.
Yeah.
And that's the decision that you need to make. How much evidence do you need? how much do you want to spend time on bug hunting?
That's true. But let's go back to the question, how do I get more time for exploratory testing?
What would be the reasons that you don't have time for exploratory testing?
Yeah, well, it comes back to the organizational priorities and your ability to change the priorities. So first of all, I would like pick up a piece of paper and just write down what are the priorities of like our team, my boss, and what do they expect to have out from testing. And then based on that, where you are, I would then ask, what are the things or who are the people I should convince about the benefits of exploratory testing, so I can start to increase the priority of exploratory testing in that list that I have. I usually love to work with pen and paper, just for example this way, just list your priorities, put them in order. What is it now? What do you want it to be? And then who do you need to make the change happen? Because the question who do you need is critical in every software project.
And there might be, I'm sort of on the same page with you on this one, because there might be someone who's literally preventing you from doing that, from investing time in the exploratory testing.
Yeah.
So maybe one way.
so you could just put a bag on his head or her head and just toss him into the back of a car and drive him far away, and then you can start doing exploratory testing.
But then, for example, one way to if you need to convince someone who might not be familiar with exploratory testing or might have misconceptions about it, to sort of assure that this is actually something that we need to invest time on. You could do a trial, just a small trial.
Yeah,
let's
that's
try
a great
this
idea.
For a while. Let me do this week, 2 days, and let's see what the results are.
Wow. Yeah, experiments on things that you want to change are important. And at the same time, when you get someone to give you a permission for the experiment, then you have to make sure that the results are phenomenal.
True.
And that the results are phenomenal, you present them phenomenally. So you need to have a great presentation about it, put together an exceptional PowerPoint about the results that you got from that experiment. And that's marketing the importance of what you want to achieve and what you want to change in the priorities of the organization. Did we answer the question?
At least we have handled it from
a
few different
I'm really confident that we did.
Yeah.
But if you have some points of view that you want to share, please post them in the comments of the video.
Yeah. Always happy to get more feedback.
Yeah. We don't want feedback. We just want like endorsements and just pats on the back. So you guys doing great. So that's better. The feedback is usually critical, and I don't want that. So But anyways, if you think this was a valuable video for quality assurance and testing, please share the video with someone else. Like the video, and that way you can just help us get the word out about the importance of testing, and this time exploratory testing. The algorithm loves when you like the videos and subscribe to the channel and engage with comments. So please do that, and that will help us a lot.
Yeah, that's exactly very critical, that we don't want the visibility for ourselves, we want it for testing.
No, of course not.
Testing
for
only.
Testing only.
Okay, thank you for tuning in today.
Should we say it to the camera?
Yeah, we should.
Yeah. Should we shade together? Should we shade together?
Are you Sean Connery?
Hey, thanks for tuning in for this episode.
See you next time.
Joo, se oli hyvä. Se meni tosi hyvin. Ja me päästiin vähän huumoripuolellekin välillä siinä.
Kyllä, no niin, hyvä.